Hello, good morning, I'm Maurice and I've got another Life in Lockdown for you. I'm doing a little mini-series and I'm looking at the end times. And I want to talk this morning about the thief in the night, the scripture that mentions the thief in the night. What's that all about? Is it the secret rapture, as many think? Well, let's discover it. We need to look at the context of these popular scriptures to see if they're about the rapture, the snatching away, whatever you call it. So let's start on this journey. Let's see if we can separate fact from fantasy. Well, there's no mention of a rapture or a word that would imply that, as I can see, in Daniel or Revelation. But it's obvious from other scriptures, Thessalonians and Corinthians, that those that are alive and remain will be caught up to meet Jesus in the air. So the Bible's clear about a rapture or whatever you call it, the snatching away, being caught up. But the thief in the night has nothing to do with the rapture. Let's get into the Matthew 24. We're up to 35 and to 39 now. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. He's not talking about the rapture. Clearly the context is when he returns to earth. And then he says this, but as in the days of Noah, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So that's interesting. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating, drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day Noah entered the ark. So he's just given us a history, we know that. And they knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So Noah is an illustration. As Jesus comes again, it will be like the days of Noah. Well, the context is not about the sin in Noah's day. I mean, there was terrible sin. There was angels mating with women. There was violence. God said, the end of all flesh is come upon me, that the thoughts are only evil continually. So it was a terrible, immoral degradation of society. But Jesus never mentions that. His point isn't that it'll be sinful and wicked in the days when Jesus comes. He's not looking at that. He's saying that they thought it was normal life and they were caught out. They were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage. That's normal life. And it'll be normal life to the people on planet Earth when Jesus comes. It won't be about the wickedness because people don't think they're wicked. Your great-grandmother would think this generation was so wicked because we accept abortion as normal. But it's just everyday living to this generation. Your great-grandmother would have thought homosexuality, that's a filthy abomination. But now it's normal. So every generation justifies itself and thinks that they're good people. This is normal. So that's what Jesus is saying. Life will carry on as though it's normal. Doesn't matter what's going on, child sacrifice, abortion, paedophilia. It's normal to the people who are doing it in that generation. And that's his point. And that's why they were caught out. They didn't think they were wicked and deserved judgment. They were just carrying on, marrying, giving in marriage, eating, drinking, normal lifestyle. The point is they were caught out because they didn't expect it in their day. We are not wicked. The interesting thing about this verse is that ministers have said exactly the opposite of what it actually says. They've not read it clearly. And Christians are so gullible that they believe ministers and have not checked it out for themselves. When you see what it actually says, you'll see it's the opposite. It's not debatable because it's in plain English. It's not about the rapture. Think about it. Jesus said they were caught out and they were taken away by the flood. Well, the ones who were taken away by the flood were taken away to perish. They were taken for judgment. The ones who remained were the ones who were saved, not the ones who were taken away, caught up. We use it as an illustration of the secret rapture, but the ones who were taken for judgment. Maybe I should read that again. As in the days of Noah, they were eating, drinking, marrying, giving in marriage until the day Noah entered the ark, and didn't know until the flood came and took them all away. They were taken away and drowned. They perished. So the ones who are taken and judged. The ones who remain are the ones who are saved. So this doesn't prove the secret rapture, does it? It's the very opposite of what preachers say. And then it says there'll be 2 in the field and 1 taken. Verse 40, then shall 2 be in the field, 1 shall be taken and the other left. So the taken ones are the ones for judgment. 2 women shall be grinded into the mill. 1 shall be taken, not taken up to heaven and raptured, and to ever be with the Lord, taken away with the flood. That's the context, taken for judgment. So if there is a secret rapture, and I don't believe there is, but if there was one, you certainly couldn't use that scripture to support it, could you? Well, I haven't found any other scriptures to show there's a secret rapture, but please email me if you find one. I'm interested. So Jesus carries on after this context. Remember, the context is about not being caught out. It's not about being caught up. Verse 43, but know this, if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, here's the thief, what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore, ye also be ready, for in such an hour as ye think not the Son of Man would come. He's warning the church. So, if we're all going to be raptured by that time when Jesus comes, why would he say, watch out. Don't get caught out in such an hour as you don't think, because life will be normal. Why is he telling the church that if they're going to be raptured at that time? Doesn't make sense to me. Well, there's scriptures in Thessalonians and Peter that mentions the thief in the night. I'm sure they're alluding to the scripture that Jesus said in Matthew 24. Let me read it. 1 Thessalonians 5:2. For yourselves know perfectly the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. It'll catch you out. So that doesn't talk about a secret rapture. And they're caught out. And this is the great day of the Lord, when people will ask the rocks to fall on them, and great dread and fear will fall upon people. The Old Testament talks about the day of the Lord, a day of dread and darkness. And 2 Peter 3:10, but the day of the Lord will come. The day of the Lord is him coming to judge, not the rapture. The day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, which the heavens shall melt with fervent heat, and the earth also, and the works that are in them shall be burnt up. This is not the rapture, this is Jesus coming to judge. So, let me leave you with this scripture from Matthew 24:44. We've read it already, but this is the bottom line. We need to be ready and fear the Lord for this fearful day of judgment. It says, therefore you also be ready, for in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man shall come. Why is it that Paul, Peter, James, Jude, John, all mentioning about the last day say, watch, be sober, be vigilant, don't be caught out. Assemble yourselves much the more as the day approaches. It's a dangerous time for planet Earth and for the world. Don't get caught out. Now's the time in Corona and the lockdown to think about things clearly and get your life together. Get yourself out of fear and into faith, and start walking as though you believe the Bible. I'm going. The time's gone. I'll see you tomorrow for another blog. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.